Hey everybody, welcome back. It's the first Tuesday in July. Woo! We made it. We're halfway through the year. And since we're halfway through the year, we're going to do the mid-year freakout tag. And I'm so happy I waited to film this until the very end of June because my answers would have been different. And I'm very thrilled for the answers that I have for you. So without further ado, let's get to it. The first prompt is, what is the best book so far in 2025? Now, I couldn't just pick one book. That would be too easy. So I picked my top three. Two of them are physical books, and one is my top audiobook so far this year. Starting off strong, we have Sunrise on the Reaping. I've done a full recap of this book, or I guess review of this book, and it was just so well done. I had such high expectations for this book, and it delivered. So I think when you have high expectations and they're meant, that means it's clearly going to be probably one of the best books, whereas the reverse will happen later in this video. But for now, Sunrise on the Reaping was a 5-star read. The next book that qualifies for Best Book of 2025 is Ali Hazelwood's most recent book, Problematic Summer Romance. To pause briefly, there was some controversy with Ali Hazelwood and her being bullied off of the internet. I clearly love Ali Hazelwood. She's an auto-buy author for me. And I think it's a real loss to the book community to not have her on social media platforms because she always used her platform to speak up for people and to promote new debut authors. I know I got a lot of my TBR list from seeing what she was reading and what she was promoting. So I think it's pretty sad. And I am still going to buy Ali Hazelwood and support her because I think she's a great author. And I think she's a really great human. I've met her once before, and she was so kind and so genuine. And I know she'll be okay, even without social media. I just think it's a loss for the rest of us. And if you want a review of Problematic Summer Romance, check out another video on my channel. And last, for Best Book of 2025 is my favorite audiobook of the year, which I just finished listening to like 2 days ago, and it is called Death at the Dinner Party. This is a cozy mystery by Ellie Alexander, and my friend Kelsey recommended Ellie Alexander to me. I'm so thrilled that she did because it's been an amazing series to listen to, and I'm just like blowing through it. They're so great. They're like the perfect amount of whodunit, mystery, guess who. Next week I guess in my video next week, recapping everything I read in June, you will get some Ellie Alexander reviews. So for more information, go watch that video when it releases. The next prompt is, what is the best sequel you've read so far in 2025? Now, I've said already this year that I've had a stellar year of reading. There have been so many good books, but when I narrowed it down to my favorite sequel, it was My Contrary Mary. This is in the Lady Janies universe, so it comes after My Lady Jane, and technically this is the 4th book they released, I believe. But in my brain, and how I read it is I read My Lady Jane and then I immediately went to this one because the stories are in the same era, they're in the same world, and we get some cameos. So in that sense, this is like the sequel, like the direct sequel in my brain to My Lady Jane. And I loved it. I loved it so much. It was such a good read. Again, for a fuller review, go check out a previous reading recap. The next prompt is, what is a new release that you haven't read yet, but that you want to? Going along with the cozy mystery and Ellie Alexander, she just released A Body at the Bookfair, I believe this past month, and I'm so excited to get to it. I already put a hold request in at my library, and it's saying about 4 weeks. So we'll see if I can be that patient, or if I use my Spotify Premium and see if Spotify has um, that novel already, and maybe I can get to it sooner than 4 weeks. The next prompt is, what is my most anticipated release of the second half of 2025? I have two answers to this. The first is Ali Hazelwood's sequel to Bride, which will be Mate. This is releasing in October of this year. I'm so excited for it. I'm planning on rereading Bride right before I do my read of Mate so I can just be in that universe. Very excited. And the second is Revenge Served Royal. This is a cozy mystery. It is the third book in the cozy mystery series, Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Lord, which, yes, I am still pending reading the first one. I accidentally started with book 2, so I will be reading the first book before I read the third book. But I believe that comes out in November or December of this year, so I have time. The next prompt is, what was your biggest disappointment so far this year? Unfortunately, or I guess maybe fortunately, this is an easy answer for me, in Outlander. Part of this, I think, is my fault because I only read like the back blurb and went into it expecting one thing, and I don't think it fully delivered on that. I think there's a lot more, or I know there's a lot more violence than I was anticipating for that read. And that just really put me off the whole book. I really appreciate when there are difficult topics, having a content warning at the beginning of the book. It prepares me, and I find that I enjoy a book more if I am prepared for what I'm getting into. And it also lets me really think about, is this something I want to read right now? I am a big believer in that it's okay to DNF a book. That being said, I also pushed through and finished this book, and it just ended up not being my cup of tea. The sixth question is, what was my biggest surprise of 2025? This answer again comes with two books. Well, I guess you could say maybe two series, which is My Lady Jane. I will give My Lady Jane the actual, this book surprised me the most. Surprised me. My Lady Jane surprised me the most. I had an idea of what I was getting into, but I didn't think I was going to love it as much as I did. Like, I am obsessed with the Lady Janies now. I love their writing. I love the stories. I love the idea of giving women who didn't have a happy ending and twisting history. So this book was my biggest surprise so far. That has led me quite gratefully into several more wonderful reads. I think my most surprising author is Caitlin Hill. I didn't know about her before coming in 2025. I was very lucky to meet her because she's semi-local to my area, and my local bookstore had an event with her and Joe Segura, and they did a book signing together. And I ended up buying her books on a whim because they sounded really cute, and I'm so happy I did. I didn't know they were YA romance when I first bought them, and it was such a nice surprise to realize that, like, it's still perfect. Like, it is the perfect amount of romance and giggling and kicking your feet, and you don't need the spice. I'm so excited that I've read Caitlin Hill, and I'm so looking forward to a book 4, if there is a book 4 in the works. This was a really wonderful surprise. And not just this book, but all of her books, all 3 of her books were stellar. The next prompt is, who is your favorite new author? I took this to mean, who is my favorite debut author? And though I've had such an amazing 2025 so far in reading, I haven't actually read a debut author in the first half of the year. I have a couple that I'm looking forward to in the second half of the year, of which one of them is Christine Hill Stunts, I believe. This book just published this past June, so literally last month. And it is a period romance, I believe, set in Canada. So I'm very excited to give it a try, and I'm actually hopefully going to meet Christine at a book fair in July. The next prompt is, who is your newest fictional crush? I've read so many good books this year. I mean, I just said that. I just want to spiel about how I've read so many good books, and some of those books have been romances. And I don't have a new fictional crush yet this year, so I don't actually have an answer for this one. I think there are a lot of good characters that I've read, but none that resulted in a new fictional crush. The next prompt is, who is your newest favorite character in 2025? This is another twofer for me. The first newest favorite character is Lady Jane Grey. I really admire her compassion and intelligence and drive and just like who she is. I know Lady Jane Grey is a real person who lived, but if this version of Lady Jane Grey were alive today, I would love to be her best friend. I just think she's really amazing and cool. And going kind of hand in hand with that is the main character from the Secret Bookcase mystery series, Annie. She also seems very cool and determined, and I've loved watching her character developed over the past 3 books that I've read, and I'm looking forward to see where her character development goes to in the next 3 books. Like Lady Jane, I would love to be Annie's like bestie. The next prompt is, what book made you cry in 2025? So far this year, there has not been a book that has like made me cry. The closest is Melissa Holt's An Enchanting Case of Spirits. This is kind of a mix between a cozy mystery and a romance. There's a slow burn. You'll get a full review on next Tuesday's video because I read this in June, as well as its sequel. But this one really pulled at the heartstrings at times, and this one was the closest I got to crying. I was tearing up. I just didn't completely cry. And some exciting news is that at the end of July, I'm actually going to get to meet with Melissa again because I met her at a book signing. And we're going to do a little like sit down interview and talk about her books. So look forward to that at the end of July. What better way to follow up a book that made me cry than what is a book that made me happy so far this year? I feel like it'd be really hard to list all of the books that made me happy this year because there are so many of them. So I decided to just do one, and I decided to do the one that when I thought of this or when I read this question, I was like, this book made me really giddy, and that is Temple of Swoon by Joe Segura. Overall, a really great book. Very cute. It is a spicy romance, but this book had me grinning from ear to ear the whole book. Like, honestly, such a good read. And Jo normally releases her books in January, which I just think is really great. I need something to look forward to after the holidays. So this book made me happy. The next question is, what book that you have bought has the most beautiful book cover of 2025? This is such an easy question for me because I feel like I've been raving about this book cover since I got this book, and that is Servant of Earth by Sarah Hawley. I don't have any more words. It's just so beautiful. I'll try and get it close to the camera for you. I mean, look at this book. That was super cheesy. That was super cheesy, but it's so beautiful. And her second book is coming out, or her second book in this series is coming out later this year. And I'm very excited to read it. And that book cover looks just as beautiful as this book cover. Last but certainly not least is books that I am excited to read by the end of this year. Are you surprised that this is going to be the longest answer and have the most books? We're only halfway through the year. And there are even more books besides these books that I'm excited to read. But I did narrow it down. So we'll start with Ellie Alexander, Meet Your Baker. This is another cozy mystery. This is the first in her other cozy mystery series. I'm so excited to read it. I haven't read it yet, so I haven't read any of these, so they're going to be a lot short and sweet. So maybe it's okay that there are so many books for this category. The next two are a duology. They're the Time's Lost Treasures. I think it's a duology. There's at least only 2 books published. It might be more than a duology. Haven't read it yet. We'll find out. But Of Gold and Shadows and Of Silver and Secrets. I'm hoping to meet Michelle at the book fair that I'm going to in July. So I picked up these 2 because they sounded right up my alley. I think they're going to be a little cozy mystery. They're set in Victoria, England, and they have cool covers. So excited to hopefully meet Michelle and give these 2 books a read. Next up, we have Well Met. This is a romance that I'm excited to read, but I'm purposely holding off on reading this until closer to Ren Fair season because it takes place at the Ren Fair, and Matt and I are planning on going to the Ren Fair again this year. So I thought to myself, have patience, Mackenzie, and read this book right around when I'm going to be experiencing the Ren Fair myself. The last 3 books that I'm looking forward to reading in 2025 are also 3 books that I'm hoping to finish reading, or I see myself finish reading by the end of this summer. And those are the remaining books by the Lady Janies that I have yet to read, of which we have My Imaginary Mary, My Plain Jane, and My Salty Jane. I'm so excited to read these books. And just to point out how excited I am, I bought the hardcover of My Salty Mary. Did I say My Salty Jane? I bought the hardcover of My Salty Mary because this was published in August of 2024. And normally it takes about a year for the paperback to be released. And I knew I didn't want to wait that long. So I went ahead and bought the hardcover because I do believe in July, maybe early August is when I will finish up reading from the Lady Janies. And there you have it. That is my mid-year freakout tag. Thank you so much if you're still watching this video, if you've made it to this point in the video, and for just like experiencing life with me and helping me grow this channel. This is something that even at the beginning of the year, I never thought that I would be able to do, let alone consistently be putting up videos once a week and trying to build this community of readers. So I just really appreciate you all. It's been really amazing slowly growing this community. So if you're still sitting here watching the end of this video, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. I think we have really big things to look forward to as this channel starts to grow. Until next week when I do a reading recap. Bye.